7 Worst Foods for Your Brain. The most significant organ in your body is your brain. It maintains all of your body's processes running smoothly, including your heart pounding and breathing. This is why maintaining a balanced diet will help your brain function at its best. Some meals are bad for your brain since they affect your memory and mood while raising your risk of dementia. By 2030, it is predicted that more than 65 million individuals would be affected by dementia worldwide. Luckily, eliminating some foods from your diet can help lower your risk of developing the illness. 1. Sugary drinks. Sports drinks, energy drinks, fruit juices, and sodas all include sugar. Increased use of sugary beverages not only causes weight gain, increases the risk of type 2 diabetes and heart disease, but it also negatively impacts your brain. Overconsumption of sugary beverages raises the risk of type 2 diabetes, which has been linked to an increased risk of Alzheimer's disease. Additionally, even in persons without diabetes, elevated blood sugar levels can raise the risk of dementia. High fructose corn syrup or HFCS, which contains 45% glucose and 55% fructose, is a main ingredient in many sweet beverages. Obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, high blood lipids, and vascular dysfunction can all result from a high fructose diet. The long-term risk of dementia may rise as a result of these metabolic syndrome characteristics. High fructose intake has been linked to insulin resistance in the brain, as well as decreased brain function, memory, learning, and neuron development, according to animal research. According to one rat study, a diet high in sugar decreased memory and increased brain inflammation. Furthermore, rats that fed diets that included 11% HFCS fared worse than those that consumed diets that contained 11% normal sugar. According to a different study, rats on a high fructose diet put on more weight, had worse blood sugar regulation, and were more likely to develop metabolic diseases and memory problems. The findings imply that a high consumption of fructose from sugary drinks may have harmful effects on the brain in addition to those caused by sugar, although more human research are required. Water, unsweetened iced tea, vegetable juice, and unsweetened dairy products are some sugar-free beverage substitutes. 2. Refined carbs. Sugars and highly processed grains, such as white flour, are examples of refined carbs. Typically, these carbohydrates have a high glycemic index or GI. This indicates that they are easily digested by your body, which raises your blood sugar and insulin levels. Additionally, these foods frequently have a high glycemic load or GL when consumed in larger amounts. According to the serving size, the GL describes how much a food will raise your blood sugar levels. It has been discovered that high GI and high GL foods affect how well the brain functions. A single meal with a high glycemic load can harm memory in both children and adults, according to research. In a different research of healthy university students, it was discovered that individuals who consumed more fat and refined sugar also had worse memories. The hippocampus, a region of the brain that influences various elements of memory as well as sensitivity to hunger and fullness cues, may be inflammatory, which would explain this effect on memory. Degenerative brain conditions like dementia and Alzheimer's disease are known to be at risk due to inflammation. One study, for instance, focused on elderly individuals who consumed more than 58% of their daily calories in carbohydrates. According to the study, their risk of dementia and mild mental impairment was approximately 2 times higher. There may be other effects of carbohydrates on the brain. For instance, one study discovered that toddlers between the ages of 6 and 7 who consumed diets rich in refined carbohydrates also had lower nonverbal IQ scores. However, this study was unable to determine whether consuming refined carbohydrates was the direct cause of these lower results or only a correlation between the two. Vegetables, fruits, legumes, and whole grains are examples of nutritious, low GI carbohydrates. This database can be used to determine the GI and GL of common foods. 3. Foods high in trans fats. Unsaturated fats like trans fats have a negative impact on the health of the brain. While trans fats are included in animal products like meat and dairy by nature, they are not a significant health risk. Trans fats, commonly referred to as hydrogenated vegetable oils, are an issue when they are generated industrially. Shortening, margarine, icing, snack foods, pre-made cakes, and prepackaged cookies all include these artificial trans fats. According to studies, those who consume more trans fats are more likely to develop Alzheimer's disease, have poorer memories, have smaller brain volumes, and experience cognitive decline. Avoiding trans fats is advised. They have a detrimental impact on numerous other facets of health, such as inflammation and heart health. One research of 38 women indicated that individuals who consumed more saturated fat relative to unsaturated fat performed worse on memory and recognition tasks. Therefore, rather than merely the type of fat itself, it's possible that the relative ratios of fat in the diet play a significant role. For instance, it has been discovered that diets rich in omega-3 fatty acids can aid in the prevention of cognitive deterioration. Omega-3s can have a protective impact, especially in older persons, by increasing the secretion of anti-inflammatory substances in the brain. By consuming foods like fish, chia seeds, flax seeds, and walnuts, you can boost the quantity of omega-3 fats in your diet. 4. Highly processed foods. The sugar, added fats, and salt content in highly processed foods tend to be high. Foods like chips, desserts, microwave popcorn, fast noodles, pre-made sauces, and store-bought snacks are among them. These foods typically have a lot of calories but little other nutrients. They are precisely the kinds of meals that contribute to weight gain, which can harm the health of your brain. Increased visceral fat, or fat around the organs, has been linked to harm to brain cells, according to a study of 243 participants. There is a discernible loss of brain tissue even in the early stages of metabolic syndrome, according to a second study including 130 participants. The Western diet's high nutrient intake from processed foods can also harm the brain and increase the risk of degenerative disorders. A diet high in harmful elements led to decreased levels of sugar metabolism in the brain and a reduction in brain tissue, according to a study involving 52 participants. These elements may serve as early warning signs of Alzheimer's disease. Another study with 18,080 participants discovered a link between a diet high in processed meats and fried meals and lower learning and memory scores. Another large-scale investigation with 5,038 participants revealed same findings. Red meat, processed meat, baked beans, and fried foods were found to increase inflammation and hasten the deterioration of reasoning during a 10-year period. In tests on animals, rats given an 8-month high-fat, high-sugar diet displayed reduced learning capacity and detrimental changes to brain plasticity. A high-calorie diet caused blood-brain barrier abnormalities in rats, according to a different study. A membrane called the blood-brain barrier separates the brain's blood supply from the rest of the body. By keeping some toxins from entering, it aids in brain protection. Reduced synthesis of a protein known as brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, is one way that processed meals may have a deleterious effect on the brain. This molecule is crucial for long-term memory, learning, and the development of new neurons, and it is present in many areas of the brain, including the hippocampus. Consequently, any cutback may negatively affect these functions. Eating primarily fresh, natural foods like fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, meat, and fish will help you stay away from processed foods. A Mediterranean-style diet has also been demonstrated to guard against cognitive impairment. 5. Aspartame. A common artificial sweetener used in items without sugar is aspartame. Though the research is debatable, this frequently used sweetener has also been connected to behavioral and cognitive issues. Phenylalanine, methanol, and aspartic acid combine to form aspartame. Because it can pass across the blood-brain barrier, phenylalanine may interfere with the development of neurotransmitters. Aspartame is also a chemical stressor that may make the brain more susceptible to oxidative stress. According to some scientists, these elements could have an adverse impact on learning and emotions, which have been linked to excessive aspartame consumption. A high aspartame diet's effects were the subject of one investigation. Over the course of 8 days, participants ingested 25 milligrams of aspartame per kilogram of body weight, or about 11 milligrams of aspartame each pound. By the end of the trial, they were angrier, more depressed, and had lower scores on mental tests. Although the precise type of sweetener used was not stated, a different study discovered that persons who drank soft drinks with artificial sweeteners had a higher risk of stroke and dementia. These results have also been supported by some experimental study using rats and mice. Repeated aspartame consumption in mice was found to impair memory and raise oxidative stress in the brain, according to a study. Another study discovered that prolonged use caused an imbalance in the brain's antioxidant level. Despite these results, aspartame is still regarded as a generally safe sweetener as long as it is consumed at a rate of no more than 18 to 23 milligrams or 40 to 50 milligram per kilogram of body weight per day. These recommendations state that an individual weighing 150 pounds or 68 kilograms shouldn't consume more aspartame than 3,400 milligrams per day. For comparison, an aspartame packet has roughly 35 milligrams while a typical 12-ounce or 340 milliliter can of diet soda has about 180 milligrams. The amounts could change according on the brand. 6. Alcohol. Alcohol can be a pleasant accompaniment to a wonderful meal when used moderately. However, excessive use can harm the brain in negative ways. Chronic alcohol use causes metabolic changes, a decrease in brain capacity, and disruptions to the neurotransmitters that the brain uses for communication. Those who are alcoholics frequently lack vitamin B1. This can result in Wernicke's encephalopathy, a condition that can progress into Korsakoff's syndrome. The significant brain damage that characterizes this condition is evident in the form of memory loss, vision problems, confusion, and shakiness. Alcohol abuse can also have detrimental effects in non-alcoholics. Binge drinking refers to intense one-time drinking experiences that can alter how the brain normally interprets emotional cues. People, for instance, are less sensitive to sad faces and more sensitive to angry faces. Aggression brought on by alcohol is hypothesized to be influenced by changes in emotion recognition. Additionally, drinking alcohol while pregnant can harm the fetus severely. The toxic effects of alcohol can cause developmental abnormalities like fetal alcohol syndrome since the fetus's brain is still developing. Teenage alcohol misuse can have particularly negative effects because the brain is still maturing. Alcohol use in teenagers is associated with problems in brain development, behavior, and function. Concerning combinations of alcoholic beverages and energy drinks in particular. As a result, there are more instances of binge drinking, drunk driving, dangerous behavior, and alcohol dependence. Alcohol also affects sleep patterns, which is another impact. Large alcohol consumption before bed is linked to unsatisfactory sleep, which can result in long-term sleep deprivation. However, drinking alcohol in moderation may have positive effects, such as better heart health and a lower risk of developing diabetes. Particularly with regard to modest wine consumption of 1 glass per day, these positive effects have been noticed. 7. Fish high in mercury. Mercury is a neurotoxin and heavy metal pollutant that can persist for a very long time in animal tissues. Long-lived, predatory fish are especially prone to storing mercury, and they can carry concentrations that are over 1,000,000 times higher than the water they are in. Because of this, seafood, especially wild types, is the main food source of mercury in humans. Mercury circulates throughout a person's body after ingestion, concentrating in the brain, liver, and kidneys. It mostly affects the placenta and fetus in pregnant women. The disruption of the central nervous system, the release of neurotoxins, and the alteration of neurotransmitters are all side consequences of mercury toxicity that can harm the brain. Mercury can impede brain development and lead to cell component damage in growing fetuses and early children. Cerebral palsy and other developmental delays and deficiencies can result from this. The majority of fish, meanwhile, do not contain a lot of mercury. In actuality, fish is an excellent source of protein and has a wealth of vital elements, including omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin B12, zinc, iron, and magnesium. Consequently, it is crucial to incorporate fish as part of a balanced diet. Adults should typically consume 2 to 3 servings of fish each week. If you're eating shark or swordfish, though, limit yourself to 1 meal and avoid eating any other fish that week. High mercury fish, such as shark, tilefish, swordfish, tuna, orange roughy, and king mackerel, should be avoided or consumed in moderation by expectant mothers and young children. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, for more health-related contents. Bye.